you, everybody. Can you all hear me? Yeah? Okay. What I'm going to do is to talk a little and read a little, but to try and follow my natural instincts as a storyteller, even though a lot of what I write is about politics. So Capitalism, A Ghost Story is about the ways in which capitalism works in the modern day, which isn't always what we think. You know, it's not just about corporations and privatization and how does it colonize our imagination? How does it tame us? How does it make us into people we don't even know that we are? So I'll just start at the beginning of this book, and I'll just sort of read bits and talk a bit, and then if I'm being totally incoherent, you can ask me questions afterwards about it. Is it a house or a home? A temple to the new India or a warehouse for its ghosts? Ever since Antilla arrived on Altamount Road in Mumbai, exuding mystery and quiet menace, things have not been the same. Here we are, the friend who took me there said, pay your respects to our new ruler. Antilla belongs to India's richest man, Mukesh Ambani. I'd read about this most expensive dwelling ever built, the 27 floors, 3 helipads, 9 lifts, hanging gardens, ballrooms, weather rooms, gymnasiums, 6 floors of parking, and 600 servants. But nothing had prepared me for the vertical lawn, a soaring 27-story high wall of grass attached to a vast metal grid. The grass was dry in patches, and bits had fallen off in neat rectangles. Clearly, trickle down hadn't worked. But gush up certainly has. That's why, in a nation of 1.2 billion, India's 100 richest people own assets equivalent to 1/4 of the GDP. The word on the street and in the New York Times is, or at least was, that after all that effort and gardening, the Ambanis don't live in Antilla. No one knows for sure. People still whisper about ghosts and bad luck, Vastu and Feng Shui. But maybe it's all Karl Marx's fault, all that cussing. Capitalism, he said, has conjured up such gigantic means of production and of exchange that it's like the sorcerer who's no longer able to control the powers of the netherworld, whom he has called up by his spells. In India, the 300 million of us who belong to the new post-International Monetary Fund reforms middle class, the market, live side by side with the spirits of the netherworld, the poltergeists of dead rivers, dry wells, bald mountains, and denuded forests, the ghosts of 250,000 debt-ridden farmers who've killed themselves, and of the 800 million who've been impoverished and dispossessed to make way for us, and who survive on less than $50 a day. But Mukesh Ambani is personally worth $20 billion. He holds a majority controlling share in the Reliance Industries Limited, RIL, a company with a market capitalization of $47 billion and global business interests that include petrochemicals, oil, natural gas, polyester fiber, special economic zones, fresh food retail, high schools, life science research, and stem cell storage services. RIL recently bought 95% shares in Infotel, a TV consortium that controls 27 TV news and entertainment channels in almost every regional language. Infotel owns the only nationwide license for 4G broadband, a high-speed information pipeline, which, if the technology works, could be the future of information exchange. And Mr. Ambani also owns a cricket team. So you have these huge industrialists who have this cross-ownership of businesses. And then you have huge media houses, like, for example, a newspaper called the Dainik Bhaskar, which has a readership of 17.5 million readers in 4 languages. And they own 69 companies, which are mining companies, power generation companies, real estate companies, textile companies. So you have this kind of way of controlling information, imagination, and business, and land, and agriculture. RIL is one of a handful of corporations that run India. Some of the others are the Tatas, Jindals, Vedanta, Mittals, Infosys, SR, and the other Reliance Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, owned by Mukesh's brother, Anil. Their grace for growth has spilled across Europe, Central Africa, Asia, Latin America. Their nets are cast wide. They are visible and invisible, overground as well as underground. The Tatas, for example, run more than 100 companies in 80 countries and are one of India's oldest and largest private sector power companies. They own mines, gas fields, steel plants, telephone and cable TV, and broadband networks, and they run whole townships. They manufacture cars and trucks, own the Taj Hotel chain, Jaguar, Land Rover, Daewoo, Tetley Tea, a publishing company, a chain of bookstores, a major brand of iodized salt, and that cosmetics giant, Lakme. Their advertising tagline could easily be, "You can't live without us." According to the rules of the Gush Up gospel, the more you have, the more you can have. The era of the privatization of everything has made the Indian economy one of the fastest growing in the world. However, as with any good old-fashioned colony, one of its main exports is its minerals. India's new mega corporations, Tata's, Jindal's, SR, Reliance, Sterlite, are those who've managed to muscle their way to the head of the spigot that is spewing money extracted from deep inside the earth. It's a dream come true for businessmen to be able to sell what they don't have to buy. The other major source of corporate wealth comes from their land banks. All over the world, weak, corrupt local governments have helped Wall Street brokers, agribusiness corporations, and Chinese billionaires to amass huge tracts of land. In India, the land of millions of people is being acquired and handed over to private corporations for public interest, for special economic zones and infrastructure projects, dams, highways, car manufacture, chemical hubs, and Formula One racing. As Gush Up concentrates wealth onto the tip of a shining pin on which our billionaires pirouette, tidal waves of money crash through the institutions of democracy, the courts, the parliament, as well as the media, seriously compromising their ability to function in the ways that they are meant to. The noisier the carnival around elections, the less sure we are that democracy really exists. Each new corruption scandal that surfaces in India makes the last one look tame. So there was this huge telecom scandal in India which involved millions of dollars. But the privatization and illegal sale of telecom doesn't involve war, displacement, and ecological devastation. The privatization of India's mountains, rivers, and forests does. Perhaps because it does not have the uncomplicated clarity of a straightforward, out-and-out accounting scandal, or perhaps because it's all being done in the name of India's progress. It doesn't have the same resonance with the middle classes. So basically what is happening now is in central India, one of the things that